Your next vehicle from Community Motors of Mason City.
Great service from 3 locations: Community on Monroe, Community Motors Westside, and Mason City Ford. 10 new franchises and hundreds of vehicles to give you more choices. Plus, Community offers an exclusive 3-3 warranty on pre-owned vehicles and 10-year, 250,000-mile warranty on new. Need more reasons why? Stop or visit CommunityAutoGroup.com.
Because nobody beats a community deal.
Still gone.
It's good.
Bill is gone today. Okay.
Okay. It's 9:45. It's Tuesday morning, November 20th. This time I'm going to open up the Sarah County Board of Supervisors regular meeting. Item 1 is the agenda, and item 2 is the minutes from the November 13th regular session and special session.
Mr. Chairman, at this time I'd make a motion to approve today's agenda, the minutes of the regular session and the special session of November 13th.
Okay, and I'll second said motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to the county engineer. She couldn't be here this morning, but she did send a little email saying that she hopes in the next day or so she sends a request for quotes on a new motor grader and a soil contractor on B43 just on the west side of Interstate 35 is kind of crumbling away, and they're going to do some sampling of the dirt underneath to see if it's what the problem is. And the maintenance crews are cleaning ditches, repairing tiles, and doing some bridge repairs. And they are working on extending the culvert on Popular Avenue. That's it. Is there anything else?
Only the secondary road notes are available for anyone across the one.
Yep.
As brief as they are.
Yep. So from there we'll move on to county auditor's business, item B.
First, I have got the claims for your consideration.
Mr. Chairman, at this time I'd make a motion to approve the claims and authorize your signature where needed.
Okay. And I'll second said motion. We have a motion and a second to authorize me to sign where appropriate on the claims for approval this morning. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And no payroll and no drainage. The next item I have is a resolution to transfer funds in the amount of $462,500 from the rural services to secondary roads.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, at this time I'd move resolution 2012-109. Transfer of $462,000 from rural services to secondary road.
Okay. And I'll second resolution 2012 number 109. This is moving money out of the rural services fund into secondary roads, which we have to do quite often, for $460,500. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item number 5, second and final consideration and vote on the proposed ordinance 55, an ordinance regulating usage of golf carts in unincorporated areas of Sarah County.
I'm going to let Tom handle that.
Yeah, this is a technical cleanup from last week. The motion should have been made, should have been to approve the second and final consideration, and then roll call vote on the ordinance.
We didn't do that?
No.
What did we do?
Took a roll call vote, but there was no motion.
Oh!
So
We got a little ahead with that.
So this will clean up that technical difficulty and take care of the ordinance. So So
How would you like the motion to be worded, Tom?
motion would be to approve the second and final consideration of the of ordinance number 55.
I make that motion.
Okay, and I'll second that motion.
And roll call vote.
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Jay.
Aye.
Bob. Aye. Motion carried.
Phil?
Phil is not here.
Absent.
Absent. Okay, thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Now we got that straightened out. Anything else from the auditor's office?
That will be all, thank you.
We got- Moving on to item C, treasurer. Motion to abate AY 2011 taxes in the amount of $224 plus interest on parcel number 07-351-009-00.
That is at the suggestion of the treasurer's office.
Okay,
We have abated that property before.
okay. I'll make a motion that we abate this property.
Okay, I will second.
Parcel number is wrote down. Okay, we got a motion second to abate this property. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item D, county conservation. You're up, Ash.
Long-awaited annual weed commissioner.
That's right.
Thank you.
Well, as per Iowa code,
You are.
presenting to you guys today the copy of our annual weed commissioners report. Let me leave one for Phil.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he wants to commit it to memory, you know, sure.
Yeah. It says right in Iowa code, we need to present this information to the state weed commissioner who's housed in the IDAL's office in Des Moines. And basically it's a summary of the work that we've done over the course of the year to control noxious weeds within our county. The format's the same as it has been in the past, so there's no surprises on here, but the first page once again covers all the noxious weeds that are on the state's list, and we rank them in our county according to their prevalence and the amount of problems that they'll cause. Once again, thistles continue to be the most prolific weed problem that we have in the county. And we've got a fairly good grasp on them, so it's nothing that's really out of control, but we're continuing to monitor that. We've got a few other weeds on the list that are present and don't have a huge impact in the county. So once again, we just continue to monitor those and control those as needed. In this past year, we did get really good coverage. We had an excellent spray season with really cooperative weather conditions. And so we did cover approximately 98% of the linear miles in the county to monitor for noxious weeds. So we really made some good coverage. One thing you would notice if you compared this report to previous year's report, if you go to the very back couple pages there, we list the herbicides that we use throughout the course of the year and the amount of herbicides that we use, and we've seen a pretty dramatic decrease in the amount of herbicides that we've been using. Some of that we can account to the drought conditions that we had this year, so things just didn't grow. Just like our lawns didn't grow throughout much of the summer, the weeds didn't either. So we didn't have a lot of weeds out there, and the chemicals that we are using are working. So we're seeing those numbers shift down.
So even with the drought, you didn't notice any particular weed species?
We didn't
pick
notice
up
any
in
weeds becoming more prevalent due to drought conditions.
I know it's one of my favorites. Wild carrot moved up to #1 on the hit list.
Well, you know, wild carrot continues to be something that we keep an eye on, but we don't have to do a lot with it because of the fact that it is a biennial, and so it tends to be a weed that's here and gone from one location. It doesn't persist in a particular spot for an extended period of time typically. So in those off years when it's not flowering, a lot of other vegetation will grow in its place and help displace it. So it's not anything that becomes a big problem. Just some of the other things that we once again usually cover. You know, they ask for our budget, how much we spend on herbicides, and they ask about noxious weed notices. It is my job to monitor noxious weeds growing on private property as well throughout the county. So when we do have an infestation that gets to the point where it's creating some issues or we get a complaint on it, I do notify the landowner. And typically, for the most part, most landowners are pretty cooperative and take care of the problem in a reasonable time. This year was an exception. We did have one circumstance where the landowner did not take care of the issue and our department had to go in and actually control the weeds. So that'd be the one major difference that we've had this year.
So what did you do then? Did you actually go on the property, or did you?
We had to go on the property. Our crew went out. We did some some spot mowing and weed eating. We didn't use any herbicides. It was a kind of a convoluted situation where the property was in limbo. It was for sale and absent landowners, and so it was a really difficult situation. So we did short-term measures to control the weeds and keep the neighboring landowners happy is what we're trying to do there, and help the weeds from spreading on other properties.
Do we keep track of our time and stuff?
Absolutely, yep. We have that information, and Fred and I are currently working on compiling all that information. We're going to get that to you guys,
okay, so
that we can come up with a dollar amount of the total cost of the efforts that we had to put into that. So, I mean, essentially, we're talking. It was about 6 hours of work for a day for myself and my other crew members who work with me, and some minimal equipment usage as well. Like I said, we didn't use any herbicides, so we kept the costs down on that. Other than that, you know, it's pretty straightforward as to the information that's on there. Like I said, nothing really changed from previous years. We're staying the course and keeping things under control to the best of our abilities. So.
We meet probably at least once a year with Farm Bureau, and I think every time we meet with them, it always comes up. I know ironweeds, which I call
giant ragweed, yeah.
They talk about that. Do we spray them if they're a hazard to the safety of the people, like in intersections and stuff like that?
Right. Yeah. That's basically our giant ragweed control policy would be in the vicinity where it creates a safety issue or a traffic problem. So basically we're talking intersections where you might have obstructed visibility, so you can't see around the corner, you can't see a stop sign. People maybe coming out of their lane can't see traffic coming from either direction, so we would take measures to control it there. There are a few circumstances where we get requests from Mary Kelly or some of her work crews where they think they might have a drifting issue where there's a particularly large or thick patch of ragweed, and we will try and cooperate with them and do some spraying or mowing to help control it in those areas as well. The key to those is trying to get something to grow in its place. Ragweed will keep coming back. You can spray it every year and it'll keep coming back, but if you don't put some seed down or get some desirable vegetation grown in its place, it's just going to keep coming back.
Well, it's gotten more prevalent with the Roundup.
Exactly.
Because Roundup kills everything and it gets a chance to grow. So.
Right. And so, our hands are kind of tied by the code since it's not on the noxious weed list. We can't put a whole lot of our resources, be it manpower or the cost of herbicides, into controlling it when it's not actually required by code to do so. So we're sticking pretty much to those safety sensitive areas.
I see a lot of people maybe spray the upslope on the ditches on where they farm or own or whatever. Can they legally do that?
No. First and foremost, you have to be certified to apply herbicides to the right of way. And so if a person is not certified in Category 6 with the Department of Ag and Land Stewardship, they're pretty much excluded right away. Even if they work for our department, you need to be certified to apply herbicides in that. So the typical landowner would not be certified under that Category 6, so they would not be able to do that. And of course, the county has its own regulations on any work being performed in the right of way by people who aren't employed by the county as well that would cover that.
Okay.
Any other questions over that?
Any questions from anybody for Josh? Thanks, Josh.
I would just need a signature on the back page, if you would. Give me my copy here.
Okay.
And I'll get this sent
Motion to accept the report and authorize the chairman's signature.
And I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thanks for the report, Joe.
Thank you.
I'll sign this right here.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You bet.
Very good.
Okay, moving on down. On-site sewage loan program.
I received the paperwork from the health department yesterday on the Jones property in Ventura.
Okay.
Their sewer has been, their project has been installed. The work is completed, so we need to accept the work from the contractor and then levy their scheduled assessments on that program.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we do resolution 2012-110 for the accepting the work done on the Jones sewer application.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion, second to do resolution 2012 number 110. Is there any discussion? As you people know, we have loan programs for people who need help with on-site sewage, and this is one of them programs. Hearing none, all those in favor of resolution 2012-110, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, moving on to item 2, a resolution adopting and levying the final schedule of assessments for the Jones property. And I'll do resolution 2012-111.
I assume it's all in order, Michelle?
It is.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and second to do resolution 2012-111 for assessments for the Jones on-site sewage treatment program. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item F, manure management plan. This is a site for Christensen Family Farms. It's called the Bear site. And if nobody knows where it is, it's just 2 miles from my house. So I've smelled it before. But everything seems to be in order, and it's just a redo, so I'll make a motion that we accept the report and send a copy of the DNR.
I'll second your motion and your comments.
Okay. Okay, we got a motion second to accept the manure management plan for Christensen Family Farms Bear site and send a copy to the DNR. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on down to item G, agreements and contracts. H, appointments. I, correspondence communication. At this time, this morning, we're going to, I'd like to introduce David Green. He's the General Manager of the North Iowa Event Center. He's going to give us a little update of what's happened last year. David, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Now this projector is showing right up on the wall behind you,
Okay.
so you may want to move a little bit so that you can see it.
Off, will that help?
Yeah, that would probably help as well. For 2012, as you can see, we had the goals set at actively pursuing the sale of the frontage lot, which you're familiar with, which we'll discuss as we talk about our accomplishments. Prioritizing the maintenance and improvements needed, maintenance repairs that have not been done or have been let slide for a few years because of the previous issues with the association and money. Successfully planned the 2012 North Iowa Fair. transition our name change, continuing to rebrand as the North Iowa Events Center, getting away from being known only as the North Iowa Fair. Hiring a general manager, initiating a plan for taking over the racetrack as its primary promoter in 2014 at the end of the contract with Joe Ringsdorf at that time. Replace electronic message board, the electronic message board out on the south entrance area, which has not been operational for the last several years. Reducing operating costs and increasing revenue. Those are our goals for this year. Now, if I can see, these are some of our accomplishments. We continue to rebrand the North Iowa Events Center. And people are being very gracious about that. People are including it in their advertisements, and they're saying that formerly known as the North Iowa Fairgrounds and that kind of thing, which is helping us out quite a bit. We have the lot listed with Exit Realty on that front property for sale. We continue to have gone through the 2012 North Iowa Fair as a success. It was not a big fair by any means. It was an agricultural fair, basically, a 4-H type event. We did have a few other things going on. We did expand a little bit. We included an open poultry show this year, which they had not had in the past. And we're using that to build for 2013's fair. As you're well aware, the water bill was settled, and we did have meters installed on all the buildings for water, so we can track consumption for all the buildings. Continuing development, we have developed a business plan, and we have continued to review that business plan on its feasibility throughout for whether or not we take over the racetrack promotion. And we continue to reduce operating costs and increasing revenue. Things that we have accomplished, of course, are we have settled an IRS deficit, and all liens have been released for all property owned by the North Iowa Fair Association. We have contracted additional sponsorships. The business community has been very supportive of our efforts to continue to develop the Fair Association, develop the North Iowa Events Center, and they continue to help us out as we have projects come up. A perfect example was a new sponsorship that we received this year with Ziegler company out here, and they came in and with Jan Concrete, they came in and they removed the dirt for us out of the arena at no charge to us this year, which was a sizable savings. But they did that as just, okay, we're here, we believe in you, and we want to help you. So that was really good. With the 4-H program, we were able to remodel the wash racks in the stable building. We have completed the painting of the barns, the current and junior barns. We have launched a new website. If you haven't seen it, I would ask you to go online and look at our new website under whether you go to NorthIowaEventsCenter.com or whether you go to North Iowa Fair, any of them will all take you to the new website. We have bought the domain rights for all of them. We have additionally hired Shupik and Associates to help us with our accounting and our reports and profit and loss statements, and they are overseeing all of our bookkeeping now. And of course, they hired a general manager, and we're trying to make some strides on keeping expenses down and increasing revenues. see these? Our basic financial report for our fiscal year, which is October 1 through September 30. On the left, you'll see our projected income and expenses and what payables we had carry over from one fiscal year to the other last year. And we were budgeted for a $4,994 loss. At the end of our fiscal year, you can see that our actual income was at $470,000. Which was quite a bit higher than we expected. We actually had about a 23% increase in income from what we were expecting. Our expenses only went in at $382,000, which now we had a 5% increase in what we had budgeted for expenses. Our payables carryover this year is quite a bit less. $3,756. We had sponsorships in the amount of $47,000 this year. We received grant funding in the amount of $11,000. That is all in that $470,000 figure. So actually we had a net of $26,281, which is allowing us to make some of the maintenance issues, to fix some of the maintenance issues that we have on the property. Such as additional painting and additional things that we needed to repair. We finished changing over to the more green energy efficient lighting in the barns. By changing out those bulbs, we've completed that project. So we are making those kinds of strides as we right now we have our skid loader in the shop, and it's being repaired, and that's being paid for out of this net income. And that's probably about $5,000 right now. We have completed repair on the Heritage Arena this year. There hadn't been any maintenance done on that for several years, and we hired McKinnis and Company, and they came in and did the grading work to fix the footing for us. And get rid of some of the low areas and get it built up in the drainage correct for us on that arena. And we do have it now completed. Some of the projects that we have proposed and we continue to work on, of course, is our message board replacement out on the front entrance, on the south entrance. The bathroom remodel for the Olson building. This is something that has been proposed and continues to be very high on our priority list. This is number one. Everyone that we talk to says this is exactly our sponsors. Everybody sees that as our number one thing that we need to do. And it was even in the master plan that was done in 2006. It was mentioned in there as a high priority that needed to be done. So we're looking to get that completed here shortly. Water lines to additional campsites is one of our projects that we're looking to continue to develop. We're looking to expand and renovate our north arena so that we can make it more usable for a wider variety of programs, such as rodeos and things. Right now the arena is too small for those kinds of events, so we have to look at expanding it and renovating it and making it more user-friendly. We want to remodel the All Seasons entrance area. All of these are all things, except for the message board, were all things that were discussed in this master plan. So these are all things that are not new to us. They're things that we need to continue to work and complete as we can. Our sponsors, what do they get for their benefits for sponsoring us? Well, they get some advertising. We put signs out on the road, we put them on the fronts of buildings and that kind of thing. They're looking at name recognition and products. There are no other benefits for that. They're just helping us because they're involved in the community and they want to be recognized as such. And we thank our sponsors for everything that we do, because they're a big part of what we do. Without them, we wouldn't continue to operate. we also thank the Board of Supervisors for backing us and helping us through some very trying times in recent years. And that is all that we have, unless you have some questions for us.
Well, it looks to me like things are turning around.
Very much so. Very much so.
I think what you started to implement is a plan that's basically been in the works for a while, and now I think you've got some momentum building to get those things done. I noticed in the first slide that you presented, you basically, to the best of my knowledge, accomplished at least everything on that first page. And you go to the second page, you've got a number of things that are either have been accomplished or in the process of being done. So, you know, I think it's the kind of thing that builds confidence not only with elected individuals, but with the public as a whole, that they have the confidence in you, your board, your organization, that you are on a sound footing and you're moving forward. And I think that's very important. And congratulate you on the operating profit for the year. I know it's not a lot, but it is a step in the right direction and a continual building of progress in an area where there was problems before. So congratulations to you and your board for the work you've done.
You bet.
Question,
Go ahead.
if I may. So as far as plans for this next fair, again, looks like you're moving forward with plans out there, but is there plans for rides and entertainment this next year?
We have been in contact with several of the carnival companies. We do not have a commitment for anyone at this time. We do have plans on having some inflatables and some different things. We've been in touch with some different companies for that. It's one of those things that we're caught in a catch-22 here, because our fair attendance has been down for several years. Carnival companies want a higher guarantee in order to come in. So can I afford to put $20,000 out there for a carnival to come in that I have to guarantee them, so I have to pay them up front then for just to come in, or do I want to do some other event that will draw people in and that kind of thing. So we're looking at several different avenues of approach on that. But Carnival is certainly one of those things that we're looking for to see what we can work out with them. We will be going to the convention December 7th in Des Moines, and all the Carnival companies will be there again, and we will be talking with them continuously about that.
I would think what you're really looking at is what we would call profitable entertainment.
Right.
What brings in the largest number of people? What can you prudently use as an outlay to bring those people in and to guarantee attendance by the public? So I'm sure that it'd be interesting to attend your meeting and to see exactly what is out there for that type of attraction.
We have some contract negotiations ongoing right now for some different kinds of entertainment in motorsports racing using the grandstand, as well as some possible concert kind of things. But we're in contract negotiations on them. We don't have anything finalized and firmed up yet, so until we do, I don't want to specifically say what they are, but we are looking to see what we can do fiscally, be responsible to the Fair Association, to the county, to the community, so that we don't get ourselves back into a bad situation in the future. We've got to balance that about, where's the fine line? This year you talk about the fair. The fair we lost $15,000 on. it's a lost situation because of what we're required to pay for, you know, the premiums and judges and things for the 4-H and all that kind of stuff. And we don't always get funding to support and offset. So I have to pay for that out of our operating funds for the rest of the event center, which cuts down on everything else that they're doing. So
We appreciate the challenges you face and look forward to doing what you're going to do for the upcoming year.
Sure.
And we do know that you gotta kind of move slow, because you do have to, you know, you gotta kind of prove to the rest of the community that you're going to be there for a long time.
That's it.
And I'd like to introduce Daryl Johnson. He's here with the fair today, and he's been a big supporter and a good active person to get this thing turned around.
Daryl, do you have any comments you want to make?
I would just say, for the fair this year, our goal would be to have an event each evening of the fair, and that's what we're working toward. In addition to that, we're working toward, with a number of people, having a good swine show and expanding even the cattle show. So that's what we're trying to do.
Thanks, Daryl. Anything else for David? Thanks, David, for coming and the information you gave us. At this time, is there anything else?
Yeah, I had another question, if I may, Mr.
Sure.
Chairman. On that B-43, I was going to ask Mary David in her absence. I thought maybe you might know. Seems like you're out there in that area. But
Yep.
Was that about 3 years, 4-year-old road? It seemed like that was relatively new.
I'd say 3 to 5, yeah, 3 to 5.
So when you were talking about B-20, you know, a couple weeks ago, as far as the defects, is the contractor that did B-43, is there any kind of warranty work on that?
I don't know, but she thinks it's the soil underneath it. There's a lot of peat ground right in that area, and she's wondering if maybe the peat is not holding up. What it is just eroding away from underneath. It has nothing to do with the blacktop itself. If you guys like it, you can see
the road
it's
bed, yeah.
It's just kind of undermining it is what it's doing. So, anything else? At this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn. I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, people.
And that kind of marshy on the south side too?
Yeah, it's very wet. It's really poor ground for anything. It's more light, and it's marshy type ground. It's very wet usually.
Thank you very
much. It was a nice improvement.
Oh, yeah.